If you or someone you love has mesothelioma and chemo has stopped working, this video is for you. If your doctor tells you that chemo isn't working, that could be terrifying. But for some patients, it's not the end of treatment. It's the beginning of a new plan. So in this video, I am going to walk you through 3 treatments that doctors use after chemo stops working and what the research says about how long patients lived with each one. My goal is simple. I want to give you clear questions that you can take to your doctor so you're not walking into your next appointment in the dark. Hi, I'm Deborah from Surviving Mesothelioma, and for almost 20 years, we've helped over 18,000 mesothelioma patients understand their treatment options. And we've also published the best-selling book, Surviving Mesothelioma. This is written by the world's longest-living mesothelioma survivor, and I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can get this book for free. First, let's talk about why chemo stops working for some patients. When you're getting chemotherapy, the chemo drugs go into your body and they attack the cancer cells. When it works, it may slow down the cancer, may stop the tumors from growing, and possibly help you live longer. But while that's happening, the cancer cells keep changing, they mutate, and after a while, they can develop a resistance to those drugs. And when that happens, the cancer cells become less vulnerable to the chemo, and the cancer may start growing again. So even when chemo is effective, it may only work temporarily for some patients. All right, so what happens next? Well, doctors typically recommend trying something else, and this is what doctors call a, quote, second-line therapy. That just means it's the treatment or therapy that you get after the first one stopped working. But here's the thing. Okay, there's no one specific second-line therapy that doctors use every time that chemo stops working. Every person is different. Every case of mesothelioma is different. So the exact treatment or therapy that your doctor recommends will depend on your specific situation. When chemo stops working, doctors usually look at 3 main paths depending on your situation. Okay, path 1, immunotherapy drugs. Path 2, surgery if you're a candidate. And path 3, tumor treating fields for some patients who can't have surgery. Let's walk through each one and what the studies showed about survival times. Number 1, immunotherapy. Like chemo, immunotherapy is a drug that helps cancer patients. But remember how chemo drugs attack the cancer cells in your body? Well, immunotherapy drugs don't do that. Instead, they try to boost your immune system and help it to do 2 things. First, it helps it locate the cancer cells more easily. It's like giving your immune system night vision goggles so the cancer can't hide from it. And then the second is it makes your immune system better at attacking those cancer cells. And that way, your body can fight back harder against the cancer. In multiple studies, it's shown that immunotherapy works for many patients and often works better than chemo. But what about immunotherapy after chemo? Well, as luck would have it, one major scientific study did look at exactly that. It was called the Confirm Clinical Trial, and it was published in 2021 in the medical journal, The Lancet Oncology. It looked at 332 people with mesothelioma who already had chemo, but the chemo stopped working and their cancer got worse. Here's what the scientists did. They gave some of those patients an immunotherapy drug called nivolumab, and they gave the other patients a placebo. So basically a fake drug that doesn't do anything. Here's what they found. The group of patients that got the placebo, well, they survived about 6.9 months. But the group of patients who got immunotherapy, okay, they survived about 10.2 months. That's a little over 3 extra months for the patients who got immunotherapy after their chemo stopped working. So, at least in this study, it did help them live longer. And okay, I should pause here to say that not everybody with mesothelioma gets chemo. Paul Kraus didn't. He used alternative approaches instead, and you know what? Paul went on to survive for 27 years after his diagnosis. And he put everything he did in his book, Surviving Mesothelioma. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can get your free copy. So, immunotherapy is one possible option when chemo stops working. Another is number 2, surgery. Surgery for mesothelioma typically involves 2 procedures. So first, the surgeon will remove the lining around the lung, and that's if you have pleural mesothelioma, or the lining around the abdomen if you have peritoneal mesothelioma. And then when the lining is gone, the surgeon will go in and remove all of the tumors that they can see. How well does it work? Well, it depends on the patient, but a 2024 study in the medical journal Annals of Thoracic Surgery looked at 292 people with pleural mesothelioma, and all of them already had chemo, and all of them were candidates for surgery. But only 272 of those patients went through with the surgery. The other 24 patients turned it down. And that seemed to make a very big difference because the group who did not get the surgery, all right, they survived for about 23.6 months, and that's just under 2 years. But the group who got the surgery, well, they survived about 40.7 months, and that is a little over 3 years. So that's more than 1 extra year of survival for the group that got surgery after they already had chemo. So that is why mesothelioma specialists often recommend surgery for patients who can get it. Okay, but that is the thing. Not everyone with mesothelioma is a candidate for surgery. Okay, usually it's only considered for patients whose cancer has not spread very much and who are in good enough health to get through the surgery safely. But thankfully, there are other approaches that may be available, even when surgery is not an option, like number 3, tumor treating fields. Okay, I'm gonna give you a heads up. This one's kind of strange because it's not a drug and it's not a surgery. So what is it? It is a small portable device that hooks up to your body with wires. It's called tumor treating fields therapy. And patients who get it will stick electrodes to their chest for most of the day. Those electrodes send electrical fields through the body, and studies show these electrical fields can stop mesothelioma tumors from growing in some patients. So yes, it's weird, but for some people it works. And to prove it, scientists ran a study, and it was published in 2019 in the medical journal The Lancet Oncology. In this study, 80 people with pleural mesothelioma were given a tumor treating fields device, and they had to keep the device hooked up to their chest for at least 18 hours per day, every single day, and they were given chemotherapy as well. So what happened? Well, after 1 year, 6 out of 10 of those patients were still alive, and after 2 years, 4 out of 10 were still alive. And remember, the life expectancy for pleural mesothelioma with chemo alone is only about 12 months. So nearly half of the patients in this study still being alive after 2 years. That's huge. And tumor treating fields therapy works so well in studies that it's been approved by the FDA for pleural mesothelioma. Okay, but it is only approved for use with chemotherapy and for patients who are not candidates for surgery. So it's a promising approach, but remember, it may not be right for everyone. If your chemo stops working, your doctor can help you look at the options and figure out, which one may be right for you. Look, it's easy to feel discouraged when the first therapy stops working, but there are other options, and there's always hope. That's one of those lessons that we've learned from Paul Kraus, because Paul lived for 27 years after being diagnosed with mesothelioma. And that makes him the longest living mesothelioma survivor in the world. And he did it all using alternative approaches, no chemo, no surgery, no radiation. Every day, people tell us that they wish that they had learned about Paul's approach sooner. And that is why we are sending free copies of Paul's book to people with mesothelioma, or if you're a family member, as long as you're in the United States. Just click the link in the description, then fill out the form that's on the page with your shipping info, and we will send your free copy of Surviving Mesothelioma straight to your door. Until next time, stay strong, keep fighting. I'm gonna see you in the next video.